Hello, YouTube and friends. This will be a installment number 2 on the video I did yesterday on race relations and what one can say and what one cannot say, what folks must never say from race to race. And this video is going to be video installment number 2 on how to behave for our youth. That is going to be concerning the LMNOP community. And why I'm bringing them up at this point is I just learned today, and you guys know I am a product of the 1960s and 70s, so I'm a little slow to catch on to the hip stuff that's going on of the day today. But something interesting I learned yesterday, and that was the LMNOP community do not have the same time relativity that we have. Their time's totally different. Time is bent with them, it's compressed. They got a whole bunch of stuff going on with time. For them, they don't set an alarm clock, get up at 7, be at work by 8, or things like that. There's no concept of time like the rest of us have it. And I'm going to tell you how I found out about this. I believe it was a woman, but I'm not sure. It looked like a woman. I'll use the pronoun she, but I don't know. You know what? I'm going to use the pronoun it because I don't know. So it said that it was a transvestite, and my understanding of that is that's a person that has the male organs and female organs. I don't know. I didn't go look the word up, so maybe when I get off of here, I'm going to go look in the dictionary and look the word up and thoroughly understand it, because it's necessary today. So, and especially for the older generation. But when it started talking about things like its don't have certain concrete etches in the stone of the lifetime, its don't have that. In other words, men and women, a man will marry a woman, and then you've got an anniversary date, and you go, 10 years, wow. You're pushing up 20 years like me and my wife in today's time in society, and it's like, oh my gosh, because they've reimagined marriage, so marriage is not really marriage any longer as well. But it made a valid point with concerns to time, and brought up several reimagined situations and things like that. One of them was marriage anniversaries, which they don't have. Even when it does marry it, they're promiscuous and they don't stay together, so they don't get to have these things that he and she's get to have. So it's terribly complicated for the it's. Very terribly complicated. So for the young people, I just wanted to tell you, there was a day when I was young. I can blink my eyes and it was yesterday, but is over 50 years ago. So, but I remember being young. I would say, Mama, Daddy, why are us little boys wearing pants and the little girls wearing dresses, and just different things like that. I'm not sure I asked that question because I just sat back. I was a good observer, and I don't really remember me having questions with concerns to little boys and little girls, but other kids did. And I'll give you an example in a moment. But when we were young and we asked a question like that, our parents would tell us nobody had any type of the brass stones enough to go into a schoolhouse and ask a question like that. It's just different time. And but on the occasion when a kid would ask his mom and dad that, they'd say, well, it's because the little boys wear pants and because the little girls wear dresses. We took that and went on with it. Never had a lot of deep thought about things like that, and we just lived, and probably 999,999 people rock and roll with that. But there would be one in the million that would have problems with that, and one of our next door neighbors, he had problems with that. So we did from time to time have questions in our neighborhood. But unfortunately for the next door neighbor, that little boy, I had a little boy that lived on one side of us beside us and a little boy that lived on the other side. And we all played together. But the one little boy that, oddly enough, facing out from the house, lived on the left-hand side of us. We would play cowboys and Indians, for example, and he'd be a little Indian princess. We would play Gunsmoke, which was a popular television series, like a cowboy series. And Miss Kitty had the bar, and then you had James Arness, which was the marshal, and another guy who was the sheriff. Me and my friend, I would end up being the marshal, and he'd be the sheriff. I would always be the U.S. Marshal for some reason. But the other little boy on the left side of us, he was Miss Kitty, the barmaid, and things like that. MASH had come about, not the TV series yet, but the movie that started the TV series. And most of you young people probably don't know what that is, but it was a military show with a mobile Army surgical hospital, and so you had Army doctors and Army nurses. We always played the Army doctors. They always played the little boy to the left of us always played the Army nurse. So these things have been happening since time immemorial. He was the little kid that would, if you told him why, he wouldn't take it and roll with it. It was always, yeah, but why? Yeah, but why? And he had parents that had no concept of anything themselves, so they couldn't rear him with any type of concept or gauging in life. And so he went that route. Which today is totally fine to go by that route, because all you young people are, yeah, but why? Biology, yeah, but why? Rocket science, yeah, but why? And as we're getting to a point where Boeing develops a new jet and we can't keep a jet airplane in the air, those would be the reasons why. Is for the ones that are, yeah, but why? I'm going to imagine this airplane in my head, and by golly, that'll be the plane everybody's on, whether it's safe or whether it's not. And why shouldn't we do that? We should get on unsafe planes if someone reimagines our airplane for us. It's our responsibility to imagine what our airplane's going to be now, isn't it? So if it's not safe, that's okay. And you need to understand that. So the thing with the time really got to me a whole lot. So I thought back, because I am 100% convinced that society is going downhill. One reason is Alex Jones. 15, 20 years ago, he was on a little, when the internet first started coming about, and even before that on news radio, and we'd be out working and we'd listen to Alex Jones on the radio, on what used to be called AM radio stations, or just daytime radio stations. And he told us that they're putting something in the water that was turning frogs gay. And everybody got on him, got down on him, something vicious. But turns out something has been put in something that's turning everything gay. So, going back in time myself to a time where there were reliable institutions, reliable education, places in time where we were in the 7th grade and learning algebra, and today you're in the 10th, 11th, or 12th grade learning algebra, if you even learn any algebra. Because algebra is really not necessary, you see. But going back to that time when it was necessary, when we imagined it was necessary, a singing group called Chicago put out a song, so you can all look this up. Look, Singing Group Chicago, with the title of the song, Does Anybody Really Know What Time It Is? And the song will pop up for you. And you get to listen to it, and they will explain time to you. And these newer generations, they didn't get that song, so they don't understand. That's why you got splinter groups of people that just say time's different for us. 8 o'clock in the morning to you, even though I live down the street from you, is 12 midnight for me. You know, so trying to line up the reimaginings, see, get everybody on a closer page. But it's not necessary because it's not important. The only things really that are necessary is the LMNOP community, race, and culture. That's all that's necessary that you need to be learning today. Race, really LMNOP first, transvestites and things like that. And second would be the, I've actually been working and I've got some dirt under my fingernails, so I pulled it out of the camera. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to reimagine the work thing, so I keep doing it. I'll learn one day. But the LMNOP transvestite thing is the first thing to learn. The second thing to learn is race and how to race bait every chance you get. And the third thing to learn is culture, so you don't culturally misappropriate anything. I think I got that in the proper order. So if you learn those three things, reading, writing, arithmetic, science, history, Well, it's good to learn history, but the history has to be what you think it was. And you need to be erasing history that you don't like. And if you erase it, then really it didn't really happen. And we have proven that reimagining the history is correct. The Soviet Union did it and blotted out. Joe Stalin killed like 70 million people, I believe, when it was all said and done. Starved half his population to death, but he wiped that from the history. So really it never happened. It just never happened. So, and here's where the huge problem with things like that lay. The survivors of those people that were starved to death or brutally beaten to death or worked to death, those people just need to get on the page with those that reimagine the history and just out of the blue said it never happened. And if the survivors of those people get on that page, then they're going to be okay too. See? So there's nothing really to be hurting about or be in an uproar about. Things like being forced in a work camp or stuff like that, having your right to defend yourself taken away, having your freedom of speech or freedom of religion, those things are not important at all, folks. And I don't know why you have any one of you, like I've been guilty of in the past, stand up for things like that. There's no need to. It's not necessary. Right now, we have the only guy that can save us. And thank goodness he's president right now. And that's President Joe Biden. And only with him can he tell us, even though he can't talk and he doesn't understand what he says, he can tell us what we can say and what we cannot say. And he's the only one that can do this for us. And the only one that can, with the economy falling apart, the World War III fixing to start, he's the only one that we need to be listening to, because according to him, everything's great. So you need to reimagine that inside of your head. So you young folks, go listen to the song by the singing group Chicago. Does anybody really know what time it is? I believe that's the name of it. And just mold your life by that, because nothing else really matters. And I'm glad that I hopped up on that LMNOP community video with the transvestimite, because it's helping me understand the younger generation coming up. So just don't worry about nothing. There's nothing really to work for. If you're in school, don't worry about it. If you're getting a flunking grade, just bring up racism or something, or sexism or something like that. There's no need. You need to force yourself to do something you don't want to do. Number one, it won't pay off. And number two, it's just not necessary. Life's all about just doing what you want to do when you want to do it. And everybody else needs to reimagine whatever you want them to think. And the sooner we get those things figured out, the better off we'll be. So everybody have a great day.